Hi, I'm Peter Capaldi. I play the Doctor, and you're watching EMS Productions.
Hello everybody, and welcome along to today's video where I'm going to be discussing the pretty massive news that we've heard in the last couple of days that the John Simm Master will be returning for Series 10. So yeah, this kind of came out of nowhere that this was happening. Usually this stuff leaks a lot more in advance. I mean, before I get into the actual sort of my thoughts and theories on this return, I just wanted to have a quick mention of leaking and idiots at the BBC and this kind of thing, because essentially we had the press screening for episode 1 on Tuesday evening, and they showed a trailer at the end of the episode which clearly includes the John Simm Master appearing, and then after that Moffat's teased in an interview about how there's going to be a massive spoiler sort of in at the end of the trailer, and you'll want to avoid the news and make sure you wait in it because it'll be a shocking spoiler to see at the time. And so they were trying to keep it a secret and everything, and then what happens? The Sun leak it, of course. With literally less than 24 hours after he says this, Moffat, it then gets leaked, which is just fantastic. I saw the leak, not surprising really if you're on Twitter or social media, you saw it pretty quickly. And then the following evening, which was Wednesday evening pretty much, or Thursday evening, recently, they announced that he was coming back, because they realised it leaked already and everybody already knew. And so the massive spoiler from the trailer is indeed the John Simm Master returning. And I just think it's a bit stupid from the BBC to really chuck a trailer with this massive spoiler in at the end of a screening when you've got a good 50, 100 people in a room of press and journalists, tabloid newspapers who are going to try and get a story by doing this. And clearly they haven't signed NDAs or anything. There might be an official embargo, but they can just say they got it leaked from a source or whatever, and then they probably can't, no one can prove anything. So it just seemed a bit of a stupid decision from BBC and whoever was involved in putting that whole thing together to show that trailer and include this massive spoiler. Even if you just delete that one little, like, 2 seconds of the trailer which has that spoiler in, if you just remove that, then suddenly it would have been the shock of the shock at the end of the first episode in that trailer. It just would have sort of made a lot more sense to me, and I just think it's really stupid that the BBC have done that. And I could see a few people were a bit angry when they saw the official BBC announcement, like, why are they spoiling everything? At this stage they had to announce it, try and sort of keep the leaks under control pretty much, by just announcing it rather than hanging around and just sort of letting it all be rumoured and then it not actually be much of a shock when it happens. So it was their only option because they'd been stupid and already let loads of people see it and then hope that they wouldn't spoil it pretty much, which was never really going to happen. And so it obviously continues on with the trend of BBC being stupid with announcements and leaks and everything. Back to Series 9, you've got Gallifrey mentioned in the synopsis of the last episodes, just spoils that straight out the park. The plot to the opening two-parter of Series 9 was leaked about 7 months before the episode aired, which was just fantastic. The first 5 episodes of Series 8 leaked, were straight out there. I mean, I never actually watched them personally, I didn't watch the leaked ones, I just watched them when they aired, but the fact that they could have 5 full episodes leak online was just a bit of incompetence from the BBC. And it's just disappointing because they've done a pretty good job so far this year of keeping things under wraps, and it now just sort of feels like suddenly lots of little bits of information are coming out and sort of losing more and more and more of the surprise elements. Obviously the Mandasian Cybermen, Missy, the John Simm Master returning as well, 12th Doctor regenerating, probably Bill leaving. All these things that just are sort of coming out now that we've kind of been so quiet the last 6 months before the series sort of promotion started, and now I would have preferred to have been able to not have those spoilers and just avoid it going into the series rather than suddenly have it all spoiled right at the last minute. I couldn't just stop using social media, that wouldn't be possible really, so I feel like there wasn't really a way around it for me, so it's a bit frustrating and a bit poor from the BBC to really be naive enough to think that that wouldn't leak when you play it out in front of 50 to 100 people. And then expect it not to leak. It just wasn't going to happen. But anyway, enough of me ranting about leaks and spoilers. Let's talk about the big reveal that the John Simm Master's returning. So of course we haven't seen him since New Year's Day 2010 when he was seen forcing Rassilon and the Time Lords back into sort of hell or wherever it was, the sort of void that they'd been sort of trapped into. So it seemed that he was going to his death very much. So it'll be very interesting to see where we sort of pick up with this, with the John Simm Master again. Is it sort of like we've had with multi-Doctor stories where it's been sort of before the end of their timeline? So is it actually that this multi-master story from John Simm Master's point of view, this is going to get confusing. So I'm going to call John Simm the Master and Missy, just for a more easy splitting up of the two. But maybe it's that from the Master's point of view, it is from before he sort of had his final thing with the 10th Doctor and all that kind of thing. Maybe it's in between. But then he was already dead. He was burnt on an altar to death. So maybe that doesn't work either. I have no idea. Which is kind of good that we don't, although we know he's coming, we have sort of no idea how he's involved or anything like this. Quite exciting that we're going to should have the prospect of the first ever multi-master story on screen. It's been done in Big Finish before, I believe, but it's the first time that on TV we'll actually see two masters standing side by side, facing off against the Doctor, which will just be quite exciting to see. The two slightly nutty incarnations of the Master as well, of course, with John Simm and Michelle Gomez. I mean, it's interesting that John Simm had previously sort of said about how he wasn't always so happy with the way his Master was written by Russell. He felt he was a bit too mad and crazy, and I kind of agree. I didn't dislike that incarnation of the Master, but I thought it went a little bit too far with the completely mad, bonkers, crazy guy. Obviously, Missy's a little bit different. She is a bit mental as well, so she's kind of bringing it on, continue that on, but it just doesn't feel quite in the same way as what the John Simm Master, which I feel didn't quite work out. And he seems to agree with that, so maybe he'll have sort of asked Stephen Moffat to maybe write him a little bit more sort of serious and straight. Not so he's a completely different character, but just so that he doesn't have to play it quite as mad bonkers dude as he was back in the RTD era, which he seemed to not sort of be, let's say, 100% on board with playing the character in that way. So it'll be interesting to see how he comes back, what sort of plans are involved in this. Is it going to be the two Masters teaming up against the Doctor? How are they going to get involved with the Mandasian Sidemen as well? Because I'm fairly sure that the John Simm Master is going to be turning up in the finale as well. I don't think he's going to be up in the middle of the series with Missy, because Missy's obviously in episode 6 or 7 or somewhere around there. I don't think the Master's going to turn up in that as well. I think that he'll just turn up at the end, sort of in episodes 11 and 12. But I have no idea how. I really just don't know. There's a few fan theories that I quite liked, actually. One that I saw was that Nardole is the John Simm Master, which I quite like. That he's just using a perception filter, obviously like we had in Series 3 time way back when. So linking that back together, and that it's actually just the Master disguised as Nardole and that perception filter or something. Or maybe he's got the clock or something, I don't know. But something like that I just thought sounded quite cool. I think that Nardole will be kind of involved with some sort of major plot of the series. He can't just be some sort of comic character that's just a third companion, a bit of a comedic character that's just kind of around, not doing too much. I'm sure he's going to get involved in the plot a bit more, and maybe in something a bit more sinister and on the bad side of things. Maybe he'll be sort of or maybe he'll be enticed by Missy to come and sort of join her, or sort of secretly helping her out, or something like that. I don't know, but I just feel like he's going to be involved in some of the plot towards the end of the series in a quite major way. And it was interesting, a tweet from Matt Lucas to say that it had been a wrap on Nardole after 10 months of filming. It was very hard to tell whether that implied that Nardole's finished on Doctor Who, or whether it's just Matt Lucas has finished his filming for this series on Doctor Who. It was sort of very vague on that, but it's just an interesting thing to note. I mean, personally, I'd be surprised if he sticks around for Series 11 at least. Maybe he'll turn up at Christmas, but I'd be very surprised if he sticks around for Series 11. Just as it seems to be that they're all very much going for a complete reboot, new Doctor, probably a new main companion or two, a Bill, likely going after this series, or after Christmas, don't quite know when. So I think it would make sense to sort of get rid of Nardole at the same time. I'm looking forward to Nardole. I think he's going to be one of the surprises of the series in terms of being much better than everybody expects. We'll just have to see how that goes, but I do think that he'll, surprise a few people. And so, coming back to the Master again, overall I am fairly pleased that he's back. It was once Moffat teased this huge massive spoiler thing, you won't be able to believe it kind of thing. Certainly this wasn't one that I'd thought of at all. There are a few sort of like one of the old Doctors coming back, or seeing the Doctor regenerate or something in the trailer, or the new Doctor or something like that, an old companion coming back or something like that. I didn't really think it would be anything to do with the John Simm Master returning. It didn't seem an obvious choice. I mean, I'm sure there's a good story to tell. I'm sure Moffat wouldn't have asked him back and got him back if there wasn't a great story to tell around it, so I'm confident that'll happen. But it was just sort of very unexpected. It was usually that sort of thing does get a bit of talk before it's officially announced, but it literally wasn't at all. No one had actually found it out. So that was quite impressive from the BBC up until that point when they showed the trailer and leaked it. But before that, it was impressive that nothing was said about it, considering that is a pretty major sort of return. And it feels like it's the first time in a while we've had a sort of major character from the RTD era actually come back. I mean, we haven't really had much of that at all in the Moffat era. We haven't had any of the companions back. Or we had David Tennant back, or as the 10th Doctor for the 50th anniversary special, but outside of that episode, we really haven't had anything. We've had a few monsters and villains, but no sort of just good main characters kind of thing. So that'll be interesting to see how he plays it after 7 years away. Whether it's going to be a similar portrayal or if he tries to do something different with it, and how he's written as well, of course. And who knows what the plot's going to be. Two masters facing off. Maybe they'll fall out with each other and start sort of turning on each other rather than working together to beat the Doctor or something. I don't quite know. Or maybe the Master will want to kill the Doctor and Missy will want to save the Doctor, and she has to work sort of against her own self, which would be an interesting one. I really don't know. I'd love to hear your theories, guys. What are you happy to see the John Simm Master back? Did you like him back in when he was in the RTD era when he was there? And well, what story do you think we have to tell? What story is he? How is he going to come back? What is he going to be involved with? And of course, are we going to see a regeneration scene from the John Simm Master to the Michelle Gomez Master? Lots of people have been wanting it for a very, very long time. John Simm is now coming back, so surely, Stephen, surely you can give us this regeneration scene and actually get a Master regenerating on screen, which just never happens. Other than the Derek Jacobi one, literally we haven't actually seen it properly happen on screen apart from that one. So I would love to see it. I really, really would love to see that regeneration scene. Just have that, even if it's just a brief 30-second scene, just to actually see the regeneration happen. That's all I need. I'd be satisfied with that. But when you're bringing him back, so surely you've got to take the opportunity up and have that regeneration scene. I'll be really disappointed now if it doesn't happen. It needs to happen. And well, guys, that's about it for this video. I think there's not too much more to say at the moment on the whole Master side, just because we don't really know anything other than he's coming back. There's not much more to say right now. So do let me know in the comments what your thoughts and theories about the Master's return, or the John Simm Master's return. It's going to get confusing having them both there. I think although Missy is the Master, I think just for separating the two up in discussion, I think we're going to have to say the Master and Missy just to make it easier, even if they are the same character. And I also just wanted to quickly mention in terms of my sort of plans for videos throughout Series 10, I'm going to try and get as much as I can done, sort of certainly previews of episodes, reviews of episodes, getting the soundtrack, obviously the episode of music soundtracks of it as well, any sort of theories on what's coming up as well. I'm trying to get videos together on that. I'm going to try as hard as I can to get as much as possible. I mean, my workload is going to be up to bit where I work. I'm sort of going to be doing a few more days, so I'm not going to have quite as much free time to record videos, which might make things slightly more challenging, and it'll probably mean that my sort of reviews of episodes don't come up until sort of the following Tuesday, Wednesday time, rather than straight away the next day, that kind of thing, just because I'm not really going to have the chance to record them so quickly. But I hope you do look forward to all my videos, and I'm going to certainly try and get them out as quickly as possible. I was great to see so many people watching my latest video with the trailer analysis. I've sort of racked up quite a few new subscribers, so hello to anybody who is a new subscriber watching this video. Great to have you on board. Great to just keep building that up. I'm almost hit 1,500 subscribers as well, which is quite exciting for me. It's been quite a decent amount of growth recently, and I'm looking forward to sort of continuing to make these great videos over the next 3 months, I guess it is, while Series 10 airs, because of course it is just over a week away. And well, that's all for now, guys. I'll see you again very soon for another video. Goodbye.